Hi all of you. In today's video I will be teaching you all what are the classes of IP address. So let's just get started. Who folks haven't watched my first video of IPv4, so it is coming up, you can see it, because it will help you to understand more this classes of IP address. And who folks have watched that video, don't go somewhere else, just stay here and watch this video. The concept will be more clear to you. So like you all know that IPv4 is a 32-bit logical address and it contains 4 octet, as I told you before in my last video. So IP address consists of two main components, which is first is network ID and another is host ID. And there are 5 classes of IP address, so I will show you what are the classes of IP address. So there are 5 classes of IP address: class A, class B, class C, and class G and E. So you have to only memorize class A, class B, class C, but you also know about what are class G and what are class E. So class G and E are reserved classes. We don't use them in day-to-day works, but you have to remember that from first to 126 there is class A, and from 128 to 191 there is class B, from 192 to 223 and there is class 3, or you can say class C. And from 224 to 239 there is class D, and from 240 to 255 there is class G. So now let's just move ahead. And points to be noted that class E and D both are reserved, so you cannot use them in your day-to-day life. You don't use class E and D because D address are used for multicasting application, like you can say that, like Zoom, like there is a platform called Zoom for video conferencing, and there is a platform called Google Meet. So they use like these multicasting, these IP address of class G, and class E are used for research and experiment purposes. So they are used for like scientific research and their purposes, so you can't use them, so they are reserved, so we don't talk about them much. So this is your command prompt, and if you type here ping 127.0.0.1, so I have already told you that IP address contains of 4 octet, which means 1 octet is this, another is this, and another is this, and last one is this. If you type ping 127.0.0.1 and press enter, so you can see that reply from this and this. So it means what does it do? 127, what that range do? That is reserved range, and that used for like there is your network interface card in your device, whether it's your phone, it is your laptop, it is your PC, it is your everything which can connect to internet. So there is a thing called NIC. NIC means network interface card, by which you can connect to internet, like you has Ethernet port, like you has Wi-Fi in your phones, in your laptops. So there is a NIC working behind it. So to check whether it is working fine or not, you have to ping and write this command, ping 127.0.0.1. so after that you are seeing that there is a reply from 127. So it is getting reply, it means it is getting reply from internet, it means that it is working fine, our NIC card is working fine. And as I told you in my last video that the data comes in packets. So there you can see there are 4 packets sent by internet and received by me, and lost 0, which means I lost 0% of data packets. So there is no loss at the receiving time. So you have to watch my last video of OSI model to understand better. So link is up, you can see also that. Now let's move on ahead. So yeah, I have done all of this. Now I will show you something on my whiteboard. So now let's go. So like you can see this. So I want to tell you that there is class A, B, C. You have to remember. You have to learn about class A, B, C more rather than of class D and E, because they are reserved. So you don't have to learn much about that. So first you have to learn about class A. So in class A, there you can see that here. So here you can see that this is your network ID. This octet is reserved for your network. I mentioned first. So these are all your 4 octet, 2, 3 and 4. So this is your class A. So you can see that there is your class A, and in this class A you have only one octet for network and another one is host. And in class B you have first 2 octet of network and another one are reserved for host. And in class C, so there are, you can see that there are 3 octet which are reserved for network and one is reserved for only host. So just I want to tell you that so I I will teach you how to identify class of an IP address. So like I will give you a random IP address like 192.60.66. As you all know that our these are our 4 octets. First I want to tell you, so these are your 4 octets, 1 2 3 4, and each octet consists of 8 bits, 8 8 8 and 8, as I told you in my last video. So I'm not talking about this, so let me just rub it. If I give you a question that what in which class this IP address fall in, so you have to identify. How you can identify? You can identify just seeing first octet. So you have to identify this is 192. So 192 stands between which category, which class. So like I will write all the classes in this page only. Our first class is from 1 to 126. Let me just close this. And our second class is from 128 to 128 to 191. From 192 to I think 223. After that you know that our both class C and E comes and they fall in reserved category, so we don't talk about them. So now 192 is falling between which category, which class. This is, I will write also class with color black. So this is class A, this is class B, this is class C. So now 192 is falling between 192 to 223. So it means that this is the IP address of class C. Okay, so let me just rub this IP address and I will give another IP address to you all. Why don't it is rubbing? Now I am giving you all another IP address. So your next IP address is 10.66 dot any number you can 40, and maximum is 225, and you can take from 0 to 255. Sorry, 255. You have to take from 0 to 255. So I will take here 160. So in which category this IP address is falling, so you have to uh, see only the first octet. So you have to see only first octet. Let me just select some color. So this is my first octet, and this is 10. So 10 is falling between 1 to 26. It means it is of class A. So you have to identify, always saying first octet. Concept clear? Understand? If not, just let me know in the comments. Now I'm moving ahead. So now let's just talk about what is network ID and what is host ID. So I have to give some IP address, like one. My writing is horrible. 166.10.40.140. Okay, this is a IP address. So if someone asks you what is the network ID in this IP address, so first you have to check in which class it is falling. It is falling between first class is from 1 to 1 and 126, from 1 to 126, and after that the second class starts from 128 till 191. So it is falling between the second class. So first we have to identify that which class it is falling. So it is falling between the B class. Okay, now you can check that uh, in B class what are the network ID and what are the host ID. So first I have to tell you that what is network ID and what is host. So as you can see that this is our of class A, and this is of our class B, and this is of our class C. So what happens that in class A there is only one network ID reserved for network. It means that there is only one octet which is reserved for network, and three are reserved for host. And in second class it incremented by one, which means the starting of both first and second octet, they are reserved for network, and the last you can see that host, these both, the third and the fourth octet are reserved for host. So in class C there are the starting of three octet are reserved for network, and only the fourth one, which is the last one octet, it is reserved for host. So now first you have identified that this IP address is falling between class B. So if someone asks you that what is the network ID of this, so you just have to see that class B. So class B has only two network ID. So first, if someone is asking that what is the network ID, so I will just change my color. Yeah, I'm good to go now. So you can see that there are two octets which are reserved for network. So you will write 166, which is our first octet. This is 66. I am drawing with my mouse, so don't judge me. Now what is my second octet? Because there are two octet reserved for network, so there is 10. I will write 10, and write 0 and 0 in last octet. In host octet you can write 0. So this is let me just rub this. Yeah, so this is your network ID. You can see here. If someone asks you what is the network ID of this octet, first step, write it down. First step is to check from in which category it is falling, in which class it is falling. So first you have to check. After that you have to check that which octet are reserved for network. So first you have to find that octet and you have to write that value, and after that in host octet you can write 00. So this is your network ID. of this IP address. If I change IP address, give me just 2 minutes. So if I ask you what is the network ID of this IP address, just comment me down first, and I will show you. So first step is to check in which category, in which class this IP address is falling. For that you have to check first octet, that which this is your first octet, you can see that 200. So in which category it is falling? It is falling in RC class, because C starts from 191 to 223. After that the class G and E which are reserved, so we don't talk about that. So this is the C class IP address. So yeah, you all have noted, you all should note that in your notebook, where are you making notes, that this is a C class IP address, and first identifying that in which class it is falling. Now the uh, second step is to check that what are the octet which are reserved for network ID. So there are starting three octets, so you have to write that first 200 dot and 100 and 66. It is looking like 0, so 66. So yeah, after that I will write 0 because last one is reserved for host. So this is your network ID for this IP address. I hope you understand the concept very well. So practice yourself, research on the Google, research about what are the multi-class IP addresses and what are the reserved class IP addresses. Google by yourself and you will find a ton of knowledge on these both of them, these both classes. So yeah, you can do that way, and I hope all your concepts are now cleared. If not, just comment me down, I will make another video on this. So if you want to check all of this explanation in a documented form, there is a link in the description, you can check it out also. So yeah, I am signing off now. I will make I'll make a new video on networking in just couple of days, and today one more video is coming on Python, so you make sure you check it out. Those who are learning Python from me, you can check it out. I am teaching from scratch, so you should watch that video also. So yeah, just I'm signing off now, and I will meet you in my next video.